Ontario Premier Doug Ford continues to be a complete disaster. While he ran on a slogan of "for the people," he continues to make moves that are not actually for the people, but instead are for the rich people and for massive corporations. Another move in that direction is him tearing up Bill 148. So here's what Bill 148 did. The legislation makes a number of changes to both the Employment Standards Act of 2000, the Labor Relations Act of 1995, and the Occupational Health and Safety Act, including raising the minimum wage and providing employees with equal pay for equal work on the basis of employment status and assignment employee status, 1 week's notice or pay in lieu of notice for employees of temporary help agencies if longer-term assignments end early, fair scheduling rules, a minimum of 3 weeks vacation after 5 years with the same employer, up to 10 individual days of leave and up to 15 weeks of leave without the fear of losing their job when an employee or their child has experienced or is threatened with domestic or sexual violence, expanded personal emergency leave to all workplaces regardless of number of employees, and unpaid leave to take care of critically ill family members. But Doug Ford, for the people. Doug Ford, I thought you were for the people. While he was campaigning before the election, I talked about this over and over again. I have a video where he secretly met with wealthy people at a campaign fundraiser. An illegal, by the way, illegal campaign fundraiser. But that wasn't even the part that bothered me. What bothered me is that he was meeting with wealthy donors while pretending to be for the people. This was already obvious before the election if you were actually paying attention. Now, I don't blame you if you weren't paying attention, but if you voted for this guy, you need to wake up. Please actually follow what is now going on. So let me give you Doug Ford's reasoning for why he is getting rid of Bill 148. We're getting rid of Bill 148. We're going to make sure we protect the frontline workers because 60,000 people lost their jobs under Bill 148, Ford said to the legislature on Tuesday. So Doug Ford wants to protect frontline workers by ripping up workers' rights that protected them. Now, you may say, oh, but 60,000 people. Doug Ford said 60,000 people lost their jobs. Where does this number come from? I'll show you where it comes from. I did a whole video on this earlier this year when this number first came out in the media. This 60,000 jobs number is from a Bank of Canada research note that was taken out of context. So let me just give you a quick breakdown here. CBC and CP's headlines suggested a Bank of Canada report was forecasting the loss of 60,000 jobs thanks to raising the minimum wage. Not only did the reports focus on the perspective of businesses over the perspective of workers and portray the minimum wage increase as having negative economic effects, the news services got their facts mixed up too. The Tyee recently pointed out, these stories distorted the Bank of Canada's stated conclusion that benefits from raising the minimum wage outweigh potential costs. Quote, you could be forgiven for not knowing that the cited Bank of Canada research note had a positive conclusion about the effect of the minimum wage increases on workers. A major claim of the bank's note is that, for workers, the benefits of increasing the minimum wage outweigh the costs in terms of labor income. First of all, the bank is not predicting 60,000 pink slips, but merely a slowdown in continued job growth. The 60,000 figure is a national annual one and represents just 0.3% of total employment. Monthly job growth has at times exceeded this number. So, this 60,000 jobs lost number is, first of all, an estimate that was taken out of context by the media, an estimate taken out of context that Doug Ford is now using as fact, and it's a number that was tied to the minimum wage. So, is Doug Ford also getting rid of the $14 an hour minimum wage? No. Bill 148 passed in November of 2017. It was responsible for raising the minimum wage to $14 an hour. There's some things we want to keep. For instance, the $14 an hour. We're definitely going to keep that, Wilson said. So, do you understand what's happening here? Doug Ford is using a 60,000 jobs lost number that was an estimate from a Bank of Canada note that was actually largely showing a positive effect for workers that the minimum wage would have. He's taking that 60,000 jobs number, applying it to Bill 148, which also included the minimum wage raise, but he's not getting rid of the minimum wage, which was the whole point of that report, tying it to 60,000 jobs. So he's using all of these little pieces, trying to put them together and act like that's why there's 60,000 jobs losses. The whole thing is completely fabricated. The only reason, the actual reason Doug Ford is getting rid of Bill 148 is because his constituents are business owners. People whose bottom line, their profits, their own money was impacted by these new laws because they had to actually start giving their employees proper benefits. That's the problem. Doug Ford is not for the people. As I said, he is for the rich. He is for massive corporations, just like the people he was meeting with before the election. That's who Doug Ford is for. His new slogan should actually be, Doug Ford, fuck the people.